Hello my good friends and welcome, and in our today's session, or rather in this video, I would like to share with you some of the factors that you need to consider when buying a computer. It can be a laptop or a desktop, and this video is a very nice video for our students, especially computer science students, because I know maybe especially for the first years who have joined in campus, you might need a computer that you can use to do research and even to practice something like software development, programming, something like that. But also in case maybe you're out there and you need a machine that you can use for personal use, research, watching movies, gaming, and again either for the guys who are working from home, this is a nice video for you. So let me share factors that you need to consider, and the first thing that you need to consider in a machine is the processing speed, or rather the brain of the computer. And we normally have two companies that normally manufacture computer processors. That is Intel, which is the leading company, and there is AMD, and also there is NVIDIA, I think, something like that, but it's more of a GPU, graphical processing unit, something like that. Now let me dig deeper on the Intel company. Right now I expect maybe, like, based here in Kenya, because I'll focus more on Kenya, I'll expect if you're going to get a machine, you'll get a machine that is above dual-core or dual-core list. I don't know whether there are machines which are below that, but you'll get dual-core or core 2 duo. But now we normally have the generation of core high processors, which I expect maybe you are looking for a laptop. It's good to check to buy a laptop that is using core high, something like that. If you go below that, there's no problem, but you are going too low, something like that, because like 2-3 years down the line, your machine is going to be obsolete. So there are generations which are later before, they are before the dual core, that is Pentium 4, something like that. Yeah, I don't know, I can't remember much about it. Now let me talk about core high generations. They normally use hyper-threading technology, and I think the first release was core high 7, followed by core high 5 and core high 3. But doesn't mean core high 7 has got less speed compared to core high 3. Core high 7 is the one that has got the high speed, but core high 3 is the one that has the least speed. Then followed by core high 5, then core high 7, and then we have got core high 9, which is the latest. I think maybe it was released maybe something to do with 2008-9, somewhere there. Then this one was either 2009, 2010, and there are a series of generations for each, which has happened over the years, improving on the transistors and the graphics part of it and other features that was improved. But now when you talk about core high 5, as I said, you'll have the hyper-threading speed. When you go to core high 5, you'll find they have improved on something we call turbo boost. When you go for core high 9, there is nano technology which is being used there, improving on the graphical graphics and so forth. Yeah, so that is what you need to consider when you go out there. And if you're looking for a machine which is Intel core high 3, I think you'll think of parting with almost over 40,000 right now in the current market here in Kenya. That is 40k Kenyan shillings and so forth. But if it's a refurbished or second-hand machine, you can go for around 20 something or 18 something, like 20 something like that you can get. If you're talking about refurbished core high 9, I think you'll think about 60-70 somewhere there. Just money, Kenyan money. Now that is for a laptop, as I said, consider this. But for a desktop, because a desktop does not overheat that much, you can go with dual core or core 2 duo. It's a nice machine. Just improve on the RAM. Now the next thing you need to consider is the RAM. As I said, RAM, remember, it is the one that determines the it is the space that is used by the programs during execution. So the bigger the space, the capability of the machine to multitask even improves. And we have got some programs that normally require a lot of memory to execute. So that is why it's very, very important, and especially if you need a machine to either do gaming and so forth, this is something that you need to consider very much. So I would expect, maybe if you're buying a machine, go for 4 GB and above, even if it's a desktop, or even though it can work for a desktop with 2 GB, there is no problem, but it's good. Current speed right now, expectation of how people normally use machines, I would consider you having a 4 GB RAM being on the safe side. So 4 GB and above, when it comes to a laptop or a desktop, it's good. They're very cheaper right now. The other thing that you need to consider is the hard disk. Hard disk, remember, we have got two kind of types. We have got the solid state hard disk, which is the latest one, and we have got the hard disk which were mechanical. They were used back in the days. As you can see, these disks, to move them, it requires a lot of power, so they consume a lot of power and something like that. So you can check the features that the solid state has, comparing the mechanical ones. Now if you're talking about the size, these you think of about can say 500 GB, because if I talk about student, you will need to have movies. I know you'll do some gaming a little bit, you need some graphics, watching movies and so forth. So a space of and all that to store all those information, all that information, you require about 500 GB. So it's a good thing. For 500 GB is a good thing to go. And yeah, that is it. A desktop, you can get 350, something like that. There's no problem, but now this will depend on how much size you need. For the RAM and the hard disk, you can upgrade. You can buy another hard disk and add to your machine. You can buy another RAM and also add to your machine. So it's something that you can improve. But for the processor, I'm not that much of because finding the compatible ones is very hard. And like in Kenya, they are not that much, unless you get someone whose machine, either the motherboard died long time ago, and but the processor is maybe something like that. You can just get something like that. So I would not advise someone to upgrade the processor for the laptop and so forth. But it happens, but it will cost you a lot, maybe something like that. Now I was talking about hard disk, and I said 500 is enough. The next thing you need to consider is the graphics, because graphics card is another thing, especially like for a desktop. If you're using your desktop for graphic designs and so forth, this is another feature that you need to consider. Or gaming, or that is video games, and even movies and so forth. To get quality images and so forth, you need a graphics card. So that is another thing that you need to consider. And the other one is the size of your machine. If it is a CPU, there are small CPU. If it is a desktop computer, if you're going for laptop, it will depend. There are people who like big screens or small screens, thin machines, something like that. So that depends on the user's preference. The last thing is the company that you need, because sometimes you might find that you might need an Apple computer, and as you can see, MacBook, it's very, very expensive. It goes for, I think this is brand new, it's almost a plot here in Kenya, piece of land somewhere, even hub countries and so forth. So 105,000 Kenyan shillings. This is Jumia, you can check on Jumia. So as you can see, as I said, MacBook is the most expensive. That is, Apple products are most expensive. Then we have got there's Lenovo. I think Lenovo is the second, if I'm not wrong. And then we have got also something to do with the HP, Acer. There is Dell. There is Toshiba. There is even Asus. There are a lot of companies out there that are creating, developing more good products. So like I think the Lenovo, this ThinkPad, it's another gadget which is also good for students. You can go out there and look for one. So those are some of the things that you need to consider. As I said, processor. So if it is a desktop, you can start with the dual core. If it's a laptop, I would advise to go with Core High. RAM 4GB, SSD 500 GB, then graphics card and the company. So let me pick an example of an average Kenyan student who comes from a middle class or maybe from a poor background. If it's a poor background, maybe you can't afford for a laptop, you can go for a desktop. If you're a computer science student, you just require a machine to keep yourself up to date with the technology. So when you go to school, like campus, you'll find that they have computers in their computer lab and there is internet. But just in case maybe you are at home, you'll need like to have that personal studies, like to do your own graphics, because there are some of the courses that are not units that are not covered in campus, and you need to improve yourself, work on them and so forth. So that you'll need your own personal machine. And a desktop is nice because a desktop does not overheat. So if you get a desktop of core dual core or core 2 dual core, it will cost you like around less than 10,000. Is enough, a good budget to get a CPU plus the monitor plus the mouse and keyboard. It's enough, you're good to go. Internet, you just tether with your mobile phone, because I expect a student to have a smartphone. That is a mandatory, because as I said on another video, you can install some of the mobile apps that you can use maybe to code or to practice programming just using your mobile phone, or even to learn and to improve or even advance yourself in this field of technology if you're a computer science student or IT student. So if you come from a poor background, I think just a budget of 10,000 ukipatways with around yako kanini ka help kiasi, ukisave kidogo, within 2-3 months 5, you'll have your own machine na side hustle pana pale. You'll have your own desktop that you can use. And as I said, internet is very cheap here in Kenya. You can tether with your mobile phone. You just need to have a fiber optic cable, or no, fiber SIM card, or maybe Telcom, or maybe Airtel. They normally have a good bundles package that you can buy, and you have you download your tutorials and so forth, and you're good to go like any other student. Remember, laptop is just it was designed for presentation and just a few things, but we just use it for programming and other things, but it's not good as the desktop. That is one thing you know, because a laptop can overheat. A desktop, it takes time because it has enough space to accumulate air. You remember, it has got fans that are running with high speed and so forth. Yeah, so the cooling is very important in a machine. Now, as I said, if it's a desktop, refurbished machine, dual core or core 2 dual, budget of 10,000 is enough. But if you're focusing of buying a brand new machine desktop, it will cost you even 30,000, 40,000. If you are talking of a core high desktop generation, something like that, you will part with almost 60,000-70,000. If it is core high 9, it will go even to around something to do with 100,000, more than 200,000, something like that. So that is one thing you need to consider. But if it is a laptop of core high 3, RAM 4GB, hard disk 500, as you can see here in Jumia, we have got Lenovo, I think that 4GB 27,000, and I think this is refurbished. In most cases you'll get 40 and below, you can get refurbished of core high generation, something like that. But if you're talking about core i7, core i9, something refurbished, you have to talk about 60,000, because a core high machine, core i9 machine, that is core i9 laptop, it will cost you of almost 200,000. It's very expensive. So yeah, that is it. I think right now with a budget of 15,000 and above, you can get a laptop refurbished. Refurbished are the ones that you normally get from US, UK, because those countries, they normally use machine for like 2-3 years or 1 year, and they dispose them. So that's why you can get people, they normally modify them, add new some of the devices like hard disk and improve on it, and the machine you can, it's kind of new to sell, you can buy it. So that is it. In case maybe you might need a machine, just feel free to contact me. I have so many guys who are selling machines. I can connect you with them, and you get a good product for maybe as a student, or maybe you're working out there. Yeah, I think right now you have enough information. Processor, RAM, hard disk, and think of size. As I said, monitor, it will cost you like 5,000 even to 9,000 depending on that. Yeah, they are very cheap nowadays. Even you can buy a TV and just use it with your desktop if you're a student. It's enough. So the other thing is the company. The company will be different. And if you want to do your research, it's good. You can just first of all do the research on the online platform like Jumia, Kilimall, and so forth. Once you check the prices there, just now you can get to Nairobi CBD there, River Road. Check how they are selling those kind of products, and check now your budget. Uko na pesa ngapi? How much do you have in your pocket? Now you'll get the best price for you. So that is it for today. And in case maybe you're wondering who has prepared this nice video, Americo Pants. We normally run this platform called CodeStar Technologies, where we normally offer courses in the field of IT based on the latest technology, and these are some of the prices and courses that we offer. So feel free to get to our platform, which is CodeStar, enroll or register, and enroll for a course that you feel like you want to take. As I said, there are courses that you normally you might not cover in campus or colleges as an IT student, and it's good to improve. Like for example, if I talk about graphic design, something that you don't cover that much, so I'll talk about that in another video. But as I said, if you want to cover on graphic design, the good machine to go with is a desktop. So sometimes as a student, having a desktop is far much better compared to having a laptop. I know sometimes most of you normally go for a laptop because it's portable and something like that, but as I said, it's something that was designed only for presentation and so forth. It's not more of processing. So for a good machine that you can use for programming and so many graphic design and so forth, they need a lot of speed, even cooling and so forth. The best you can have is a desktop. So thank you guys, and feel free to subscribe and even to share this link to other guys who might need this kind of information. And also don't forget to share and like. Thank you guys, and in case maybe there is information that you feel like it can add value, just feel free to share on the comments so that we can keep the conversation going. Thank you, and have a nice time.